What we're going to do now is get into the beginner and go through the entire timeline for him, starting off with approaching, meeting the girl, how to plow through that, get the conversation started, what to talk about, leading to getting physical, ultimately to either getting a phone number or taking the girl home. But before we get into that, first things first, we have to talk about the mindset. The mindset I want for the beginner is just to be, I'm awesome. All it comes down to is I'm awesome. So then when you're in the club and you're walking around or you're on the street or you're talking to that girl and all of a sudden you go into your head and you start worrying, just think, none of that matters. I'm awesome. Yeah, fuck yeah, let's do this shit. And this is gonna be a foundational thing that we're gonna add on more mindsets on top of that as we get into the intermediate and advanced level. But the number one thing first is I'm awesome. So now you're in the environment where you go up and you're cold approaching a girl. By cold approaching, I mean she's cold, you've never seen her before, you've never met her before, and you're approaching her, you're just going up to her. And if you're new to this and you don't have a lot of experience, you might be thinking, well, why should I feel awesome? I feel completely uncomfortable here. I've never had an experience like this going up to some girl before. I don't feel awesome, I feel like crap. Ooh, what should I do, right? And what happens is over time as you build more experience, you get more confidence in going up and approaching. A metaphor that works really well here is, let's say you're in a boxing or you're learning how to box. And they say one of the biggest things of the learning process for boxing is not so much how to punch. Of course, you need to get better at punching left, right, uppercut, all the different moves. One of the biggest learning lessons is actually learning how to get punched in the head and still being aware of what to do. So you go in, you get punched, and at first you're like, oh, that hurts. But over time you get used to it and you're ready there and you're rolling with the punches and you're ready to move forward. The same thing is very similar when you're going and cold approaching a girl, is when you go in, it's almost, I feel even now after doing this for half a decade, is that my peripheral vision kind of goes away and I get very mono-focused, and it's just very similar to jumping in the ocean, like cold ocean. And in my head I'm thinking, oh, here I go, woof, and then I'll do it. As you do a couple more throughout the night, you also build momentum throughout the night and each one gets easier. And over the process of more long-term momentum, you get more and more experience doing it and you feel more and more comfortable. So at first, if you're not thinking, oh, I'm awesome, I'm awesome, no, I'm not awesome, you still have to push through that comfort zone process. It's like peeling off the Band-Aid. You do it enough times, it doesn't even hurt anymore. And you can start thinking more clearly and start holding on to some of these mindsets as we get into them more in detail. So again, why should you feel awesome? Well, one of my favorite quotes that I talk about all the time is by Shakespeare. So we'll get very eloquent here with you. And the paraphrase version is, nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So however you think about a specific scenario is completely arbitrary and completely up to you. And once I realized that on a very deep level, which we'll get into further as we get into some more inner game concepts, is you can basically decide to view anything however you want. So a good example is you go up, you talk to the girl, and maybe she's initially a little bit unreceptive. She feels standoffish to you. And usually what happens is guys, that makes them go into their head and they start worrying. They start worrying, oh, she's not into me. What did I do wrong? And for a lot of guys that are beginners, because this is their first time doing it, second time doing it, or even 100th time doing it, as opposed to someone on the advanced level that's maybe done 1,000, 10,000 approaches, is on that first couple approaches, you're looking at her as an indicator of how well you did. So you look at her, she's not responding well, and you think, oh no, that was a bad approach. We'll be talking about how to approach well very shortly. So you might be thinking, oh, I didn't do that right, I did this part of it wrong, I forgot to do this, my eye contact was off, and you start analyzing it back and forth. Whereas once you get more experience, you realize a response like that, it's not good or it's not bad either. It's just something that you work with and then you deal with it. Usually for me now, when I go up and I approach a girl and she's a little bit standoffish to start, in my head I'm thinking, oh, this girl's shy. Oh, that's cute. I'll get her comfortable here, right? And maybe she is, maybe she isn't, But as I said before, so much of social dynamics is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you just get comfortable and relaxed and you see that a little resistance there at the beginning, you just assume, oh, it's because she's shy, that's cute. No matter what the reaction you get from the girl, the goal is to not respond emotionally. In any situation when you have two people, the one reacting more, the one caring about it more, is the low value one. And he's coming from a scarcity headspace. So I want to explain these two concepts, the idea of scarcity versus abundance. Scarcity, another way of saying that is neediness. So that's the situation. The reason why you feel scarcity is because you don't feel like you have access to this type of thing a lot. So if you're going up and talk to a girl and you have scarcity, what that situation is you see her and you've never been with a girl like her, or maybe you have once or twice. So this is a big deal to you. So you have a scarcity mindset towards it and you're very worried, you're very excited, and you want to make it go really well. In any interaction or anything she does to you, it's hyper amplified and it hits you very hard. So if you go up and you talk to the girl and she's like, fuck off, get away, it hits you really hard and you feel really bad about it. So the goal is to, one, get more comfortable with that and start thinking from the opposite, the abundance headspace, where the women are plentiful, they're everywhere. One rejects you, you just go up, talk to her friend, talk to another girl. Would a guy with the awesome mindset, with the awesome headspace, would he be affected by anything in his environment? When are you actually in that sort of awesome headspace naturally? Think about, let's say it's your birthday party, it's your party, you picked everyone to come in. Are you gonna be worried if you go up to someone and you tell them, hey, what's up, how's it going? And they kind of are a little bit standoffish. Are you even gonna care? It's your fucking birthday. So you're gonna have fun with it and joke around, be like, yo dude, it's my party. Oh, you wanna be a good host even, right? You're almost offended that somebody is in a bad mood. And that would be a great headspace to have towards the woman. The problem is when you go up and you don't have a lot of experience, is you look at her as feedback to see how well you're doing. At first, again, we're in the newbie section here, the beginner section, and a lot of times when you're just starting off, you actually completely identify with her reactions. So let's say this is your first approach ever, or even your top 10 or first 100 approaches. You go up to some girl, she's like, you're stupid, ugly, get the fuck out of here. In your head, even me now, I'd be like, ooh, that one kind of hurts. That's pretty rough. But if someone says that, you can't use that as identifying yourself with that. So you can't look at that and start thinking, oh, maybe I am ugly and short and she was totally right. If anything, just use that as motivation to keep on doing it, go out more and get more comfortable. You have to get used to being punched in the head. The next concept is called extreme self-love. And what this is using anything in your external environment to make you feel awesome, to get in the awesome headspace. So when you're in a situation like a superficial nightclub, you look around and it looks like everyone else is having more fun than you. You see a group of 8 people and you wish you had that many friends. You see a promoter at some table with a bunch of girls. He's got bottle service, so it looks like he has all this money and all these girls. And the environment starts overwhelming you and getting on top of you, and you don't feel in that awesome, feel-good headspace. So what you want to do is use things that you can control to make you feel good. The one thing that I can control over anything is my perspective on things and how I view it. So a big aspect of the extreme self-love, the number one fundamental core of it, is the idea of the positive reframe. What the positive reframe is as I used that quote before by Shakespeare, anything can be good or bad, thinking makes it so. So however you perceive something is however it's gonna appear to you and look to you. So as the environment starts coming down on me, in my head as that's happening, I just cut the bad thoughts, cut the doubts, and start thinking, dude, you're in the Excalibur. Fuck yeah, let's rock. And what you wanna start doing is over time, you recognize those doubts quicker and quicker, and you learn to cut them quicker and quicker. So as you go throughout life, those doubts are always going to kick in. You're about to walk up to the girl, and you start thinking, "Oh, she's probably talked to other guys that are cooler than me tonight. I'm just some other guy." Oh, start becoming conscious of those thoughts. Start being aware of when those thoughts enter in and start pushing you down. And the first step is just becoming conscious of them. I think that takes a while. A big epiphany that I had as I got into the more Eastern philosophy side of things is you are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. So when you have those thoughts of, I'm sad, I'm really sad right now, who's actually the I that is sad? You are not the sadness. you're kind of aware of the sadness. And the same thing happens when you have these negative thought patterns. Usually what happens is you just get in the negative thought pattern and you're used to that, and you start dwelling on it and reinforcing it, and it goes further and further, and it just dives deeper down and deeper down, and you just feel like shit and feel sad. I will not allow myself to get in those headspaces. So it's a discipline like anything else, especially when I'm out and I'm trying to be social, whether that be in a bar, club, during the day, whenever I'm talking to someone, social gathering, whenever it may happen. I always know that they're gonna wanna be around people that are having fun, completely extroverted, having a good time, all these different good quality headspaces. So with that said, if those negative thoughts come in, I just cut them quick. Now I cut it so quick, I don't even think about it. Usually I can feel it kind of entering, and I feel this, you suck, before I've even understood what the thought is. I've already cut it, and now I want to start thinking, why am I awesome? So this is an exercise I want you to try the next time you're out. Become conscious of those negative thoughts, and as you dive into the pattern, just start cutting it. Start cutting it and thinking, instead of whenever you feel the doubt, change it to, why am I awesome? So let's use an example. I'm out, the music's really loud, it's really fucking loud. And you know that if you go up to talk to someone, they're not even likely to hear you. Maybe even you went up to a couple people and the women, all they said was, what? And you're not comfortable being really loud, and you're starting to get frustrated. So that frustration as that kicks in, cut it. What's awesome about this? Why am I awesome? Well, fuck yeah, I'm out tonight. If this is a week ago, a month ago, I didn't even know about this pickup shit. At least I'm out, I'm taking action, I'm moving forward in my life. Even if it didn't go well, I can learn from it, right? And that's another huge reframe there, the positive reframe again, is what can I learn from this? So it's not win-lose. Nothing is win-lose. It's either you win, let's say it goes well, you get the number, you take her home, or she freaks out and you learn from it. Okay, what can I learn from this? Well, my eye contact wasn't very good. I probably wasn't loud enough, and she didn't hear me well. I should have been more obvious when I went in. And through that, now you learn, so the next time you don't do it. As long as you're moving forward, you're good. The positive reframe is just something we're gonna be talking about over and over again. I really feel that for me, it's the fundamental aspect of my game, and overall, just being happy in life. My happiness in life comes from my ability to always look at something in a positive light and either learn from it or take it on and make it something that I laugh at and I enjoy and have fun with. You look at different people and you look at how some people go through life and they're happy, some people go through life and they're sad. Some of the saddest people are the ones that have the most. And I think that's what creates the sadness. They see that they have all the superficial things, but they still feel bad, and they just go deeper and deeper in the downward spiral. Or then you see people that have nothing and they're just blissfully happy, kind of ignorantly happy, and they have nothing, but they're just enjoying life. What creates that situation? It's whatever your criteria is to make you feel happy, to make you feel good, to make you see something in a positive light. And what you don't want to do, the opposite, is taking the superficial values of either the woman's values or standard values that you see in social conditioning, in the media, and using those to identify or look at where you value yourself in the system. So let's say you are unemployed. It'd be very easy to think, oh, I'm unemployed, well, I don't have the value to offer her. And of course, if you live by the mainstream media value, that's correct. I don't want to live by that value. So to dig deeper here, and again, we're getting into the mindset side of things and the inner game side of things. Very quickly, we'll be in the outer game, but I want to set you up properly here first. So from an inner game standpoint, what I want you to start thinking about, and we'll get to this more in depth in other videos, is what actually do I want out of life? And when you have some sort of concrete standards and concrete goals that you're looking for in life, then you can filter those in the positive light and see how you're always moving towards those. So that sounds kind of vague. Let's go through some examples. For me, I'd say the three biggest goals that I always go for would be an abundance of women in my life, living healthy, and what are the other ones? Financial abundance, and being well-traveled, conscious, reading lots of books. That's kind of how I mix that in with the health and everything else. So once you have your life values, then you can filter your actions through those values, and as long as you're moving towards those, you're gonna feel good. So I go up and I talk to some girl. The reaction doesn't matter, because the fact that I'm going up and talking to her, I'm either gonna learn from that or get a good reference point if it goes well. And because of that, I'm moving towards that goal of more women in my life. Same thing whenever I drink a water. I go to the fridge, I see the Coke or I see the beer, and then I see the water. And as I grab that water, I'm thinking in my head, fuck yeah, getting that water, health, six pack. And I actually feel good just grabbing a water. Most people just grab the water, they don't even think about it. Same thing, I'm walking down the street, again, wearing the Excalibur. It's got a stain on it, and I think in my head, you can walk around with a stain on your shirt, own that shit. Fuck yeah, you look so cool with that stain. Yeah, and who's to say what is cool? All this shit is arbitrary, but I'm viewing it in a way that's gonna pump me up, make me feel good. Too many times, people, what they do is they set their criteria so high for what they want out of life that because there's such a gap and there's such a disparity, they just never feel good. They're always thinking about what they don't have and why they're not there yet, and then they beat themselves up. And although that can be good for motivation and moving towards things, at the end of the day, when you go up and you socialize people, you're gonna appear stressed because you don't have what you want. And they just see that stressed attitude and they don't wanna be a part of that. And usually in your own head, when you have that stress, it's also holding you back from thinking clearly about how to actually move forward, whether that be whatever it is in one of your life goals. So to kind of end this up here, what I wanna say is one, after this video, take out your notebook and start writing down what you actually value in life, what you want out of life. And pick 3 to 5 things. I don't think you need any more than 5. I usually go with 3, and then there's kind of a couple outliers. And then what you want to do is start thinking about those all the time. Maybe at the beginning of each day and at the end of each day, look at what those values are and go back and think about, how do these things fit into this? The example I like using is a guy I had on one of my weekend programs. And what he was explaining as we were getting into these thought experiments about positive feedback loops, building positive reference points, positive reframes, and what his life values are, is he all of a sudden remembered back to high school, and he was actually voted the homecoming king. And he had looked at this for the last 10 years since he had graduated high school as something that is a negative reference point, something that was pushing him down. In his head, he thought, oh, they just voted me homecoming king because they felt bad for me and I wasn't that cool in school. And yeah, so all throughout my life since then, I've always had that thought in the back of my head how I wasn't that cool. And I had to cut it and tell him, dude, when you're the homecoming king, who the fuck even thinks about it? You're basically the most popular guy in your school. And that should be something that should pump you up. You should walk through life going, yeah, I was fucking homecoming king. That doesn't mean if you weren't, I wasn't, that you should feel bad about it. But when you have these sort of things, and it's very easy to view it in a positive way, use that and have it pump you up. For me, another example is feeling hungry. I talk about my diet a lot because I'm trying to cut down and get the 6-pack, and I'm usually hungry pretty much all the time. And that again, for me, has become another positive reframe. Usually what happens is when you're hungry, you start thinking about it, dwelling on it, you start getting ornery, and it pisses you off because all you're thinking about is food and how your sugar is low, and it's just frustrating and people don't want to be around you because you're ornery and annoying. For me, I've changed it into the opposite thing. When I feel that hunger, I start thinking, fuck yeah, you're feeling hungry, you're burning calories. You don't even need to do anything and you're passively burning calories. So I like it because it's another example of me not doing anything and I'm working on myself. Hunger is fucking awesome. And now when I get that feeling, I actually feel good about it as opposed to in the past where I'd get super ornery and it'd make people not want to be around me, basically. All these different things throughout your life, the shirt you're wearing, the experiences you've had in your past, you can actually go through and artificially create positive reference points in your past first when you know what your life values are. So again, go through that process of thinking about your life values and start, after the fact at least, to start viewing the experiences you have throughout the day and how you can use those in a positive light. And then what happens is over time, it happens in the moment. And you're able to cut those negative ones and start thinking positively to the point where all you have is positive reframes and positive reference points. So with that mindset, what we're gonna do is move forward. I wanna have you cultivate that. And then I'm gonna start having you create a little bit more confidence in yourself and feeling a little bit more comfortable to go up and approach the girl as we get into the outer game aspects of the timeline, starting with the approach. See you soon.